The dive boat rocked gently as I stared at my dive computer one more time. 87 meters, nearly 300 feet. Every number on that screen represented years of training, hundreds of dives, and certifications that most recreational divers never pursue. But standing there in my technical gear, twin tanks heavy on my back, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I wasn't ready for this. The Spiegel Grove, one of the largest shipwrecks ever intentionally sunk for divers, resting on her starboard side off Key Largo. At recreational depths, she's impressive enough, a 510-foot military transport ship that served in Vietnam. But today, we weren't going to the recreational decks. Today, we were penetrating deep into her cargo holds, down where the light doesn't reach, where the margin for error shrinks with every meter. My technical instructor, Jim, checked my gear one final time. Trimix in the back tanks, a precise blend of oxygen, nitrogen, and helium to keep narcosis at bay. Two-stage bottles clipped to my sides with different gas mixes for the ascent. Redundant everything. Regulators, dive computers, lights, even masks. In technical diving, every piece of equipment has a backup, and every backup has a plan. Remember, Jim said, his voice cutting through the sound of waves against the hull, this isn't about being a hero. If something feels wrong, we turn the dive. No exceptions. I nodded, running through my mental checklist one more time. Gas switches at 40 meters and 21 meters on the way up. Bottom time of exactly 18 minutes at maximum depth. Total dive time with decompression stops, 72 minutes. Every number had been calculated, planned, reviewed. But the ocean doesn't care about your dive plan. The giant stride off the platform always feels like stepping into another world. But today it felt like stepping off the edge of everything I knew. The warm Florida water enveloped me as I descended, following the mooring line down toward the massive shadow below. At 30 feet, the Spiegel Grove materialized out of the blue haze like a sleeping giant. Even from here, she was intimidating, her radar tower reaching up toward us like a skeletal finger. We descended along her hull, past the recreational limits at 40 meters, past the advanced recreational limit at 55 meters. My breathing slowed, controlled, measured. Every breath at this depth consumed gas 3 times faster than at the surface. The helium in my trimix made my voice sound like a cartoon character when I spoke into my regulator to equalize, but it kept my mind sharp where nitrogen would have made me drunk. At 70 meters, we reached the entrance to the cargo hold. The opening yawned before us like a mouth completely black beyond the reach of our lights. Jim deployed a penetration reel, our lifeline back to the exit, and we entered the wreck. The transformation was immediate and absolute. Outside, we had ambient light, some sense of direction from the sun filtering down. Inside, our world shrank to the width of our light beams. The ceiling, or what used to be the wall when the ship sailed upright, pressed down above us. Pipes and cables hung like jungle vines, creating a maze of entanglement hazards. We moved slowly, deliberately, every fin kick calculated to avoid stirring up decades of silt. One wrong move and visibility would drop to 0 in seconds, turning our exit into a blind search along a thin guideline. My heart rate stayed steady, training overriding the primal voice screaming that humans don't belong in places like this. Deeper into the hold, our lights caught something that made us both stop. Military vehicles still chained to the deck after all these years. Jeeps and trucks, covered in marine growth but still recognizable, frozen in time. These machines that once carried soldiers through Vietnamese jungles now hosted schools of silver-side minnows that exploded away from our lights like liquid mercury. Jim checked his bottom timer and tapped his computer. 12 minutes elapsed, 6 minutes to exit and begin our ascent. In technical diving, these limits are absolute. No, just one more minute to see what's around the corner. That's how divers become statistics. We continued through the hold, past more vehicles, past cargo nets still holding shapeless masses, past doorways that led deeper into the ship's belly. Each opening was a temptation, another mystery, another story. But discipline kept us on our planned route. Then I saw it, movement in my peripheral vision, something large. I turned my light and froze. A goliath grouper, easily 400 pounds, hung motionless in a doorway. These giants were nearly fished to extinction, but have made a comeback in Florida waters. Finding one inside a wreck at this depth was extraordinary. The massive fish regarded us with ancient eyes, completely unimpressed by our presence in his domain. Jim saw it too, and for a moment, we just floated there. Two technical divers and a living dinosaur sharing space in the belly of a ghost ship nearly 300 feet underwater. The grouper turned slowly, its tail fin as wide as my shoulders, and disappeared into the darkness beyond our lights. A reminder that no matter how deep we go, how much technology we carry, we're just visitors here. The bottom timer showed 18 minutes. Time to go. The journey out required the same methodical precision as the journey in. Following the guideline, checking each other constantly, managing our buoyancy in the confined space. As we emerged from the cargo hold, I felt like I was being born from the ship itself. The ascent was its own challenge. At 40 meters, the first gas switch, clipping off the bottom mix, deploying the travel gas regulator, purging it, breathing, checking my buddy doing the same. Every procedure practiced hundreds of times on land because at depth, under task loading, even simple things become complex. The decompression stop started at 33 meters, 3 minutes, hanging in the blue, off-gassing the helium and nitrogen accumulated at depth. Then 27 meters, then 21 meters and another gas switch to a higher oxygen mix. Then 18 meters, 15, 12, 9. At 6 meters, we switched to pure oxygen for accelerated decompression. 20 minutes at 6 meters feels like forever when you can see the sunlit surface dancing above. Other divers passed by, recreational divers who had finished their 40-minute reef tours, while we still had obligations to fulfill. Decompression isn't optional. It's the bill you pay for visiting depths where humans need math and mixed gases to survive. Finally, after 72 minutes underwater, we surfaced. The Florida sun felt alien after the darkness of the cargo hold. As I floated on the surface, waiting for the boat to pick us up, I realized something had changed. It wasn't just that I'd completed my deepest penetration dive or added another page to my logbook. Down there, in the belly of the Spiegel Grove, surrounded by military history and monitored by a giant grouper, I'd found something unexpected. Not fear, though respect for the environment was absolute. Not conquest because the ocean doesn't acknowledge such human concepts. Instead, I'd found a strange peace in the precision, in the trust between dive buddies, in the mathematical dance of gases and time that let us visit places we have no business being. Technical diving isn't about being extreme or pushing limits for the sake of adrenaline. It's about expanding the envelope of human experience through training, discipline, and respect. It's about stories waiting in the darkness, military vehicles that will never roll again, fish that remember when their species was nearly gone, and the humbling reminder that most of our planet remains unexplored, waiting below the recreational limits. As the dive boat headed back to shore, Jim asked if I wanted to do it again tomorrow. I thought about the darkness, the pressure, the unforgiving nature of the deep wreck environment. I thought about the grouper, eternal and patient in his metal cave. I thought about all the passages we hadn't explored, all the stories still hidden in the deep. Yes, I said, already planning the next dive. Because once you've tasted that world beyond the limits, once you've done the work to earn your place there, the deep calls you back. Not as a challenge to conquer, but as a mystery to respectfully explore, one calculated breath at a time.